BMW's Super Saloon recipe has come a long way since the original E28 M5. In this series, we'll be visiting 4 very different circuits in the UK, all of them Evo favourites and home to our track day and evening events. Should be fun, so let's get cracking.
So welcome to Brands Hatch, folks, one of the UK's most iconic and just best circuits to drive on. It's a bit difficult to get your head round sometimes, Brands Hatch, because it's quite daunting to begin with. The lap is very short and very intense, but it's a cracking circuit to drive in any car, but especially one like this new M5 Competition. And once you've sussed out how to approach the extreme undulations you get at Paddock, Druids, up here at Clearways as well, it's just a fantastic circuit to drive on. You will fall in love with it. I did, albeit a long time ago, and this is why.
To begin with, it was cold and wet on the Brands Hatch Indy circuit, so I scrolled through the M menu to find the right settings to suit the conditions, and also to allow the M5 to work best over the tricky curbs that there are all the way around Brands Hatch.
So it's still drying out a little bit at Brands Hatch, and for the time being I am in, well, I've got the engine in Sport Plus, I've got the transmission in S3, I've got the steering in Sport, I've got the 4-wheel drive system in Sport, and the DSC system in MDM, which is the M differential setting, which allows a little bit of slip, as you can see, but it still has that nice kind of safety net that it will throw out all its claws like here. I've just gone in a tiny bit too quick through Surtees there, and I could just feel it starting to tickle the right rear brake just to kind of trim the rear axle from getting too far away from you. It's a sort of automatic hero button really, because it makes it feel like you're correcting the slide, and it does allow you to correct the slide. If you fail to correct the slide, it kind of will throw everything out and just bring the speed right down, and hopefully prevent you from having an accident. But it is quite twitchy today, so I do think that is the setting to be in. Interestingly, I've got the chassis not in Sport Plus, definitely, and not even in Sport, but I've got it in Comfort here, because there's quite a few curbs that you need to ride around Brands Hatch in order to get the best out of any car, really. That being one at Graham Hill Bend, that being another at the exit of Graham Hill. The really key curb that you want to ride is here at Surtees. You want to take absolutely as much inside curb as you possibly can. You get a little bit of brake knock-off on the way through to the entry of Clearways here, but forget that. You don't go anywhere near any of these curbs at Clearways. They're too slippery. The consequences of getting it wrong there are too great. I mean, it's lame fast, the M5 Competition. It really is. It's the torque, not just the power. I'm in 4-wheel drive and I've got all the intelligent bits switched on trying to make it as quickly as possible, and it still wants to try and spit me sideways in 5th gear at 100 miles an hour down the pit straight. I think this is probably the trickiest bend to get right at Brands Hatch. It's Graham Hill. It used to be a lovely, much faster, much more fluid corner, but now they've made it into a much more technical, easy to get wrong, easy to outbrake yourself on the way in corner. But that's where your lap time goes around here, and where you can get it back by being really neat and tidy.
The Indy circuit at Brands is as short as it is intense, and the track itself sits in a natural valley, which means there are tricky cambers to deal with pretty much all the way around the lap. Some of these cambers are negative, especially the ones at Clearways, which means traction then becomes a crucial factor to a good, clean lap. And so this, roughly, is how to put together a lap of Brands in a 625 horsepower M5 Competition.
Into Paddock, I'm in 5th gear, now I go down to 4th. Would probably take it in 3rd in bone dry conditions, but it's wet, so I'm in 4th. I don't want too much torque. Get on the power as early as you dare. up the hill into Druids, which I'm going down to third, fourth through here, just to be calm on the throttle. Third at the exit, on the way down to this awkward corner at Graham Hill, still in third gear. Lots of craziness on the way in and on the way out, and then Surtees, fourth gear, commits. It's all about how fast you can turn into this corner and get away with it and still manage to stop for clearways. It's a great corner, Surtees, as is clearways, but it's all about the traction. Fourth, still can't go anywhere near full throttle. Fifth, now I can just about give it full throttle. 105, 128 I saw there. That's not bad for a road car. 128 in the wet into paddock.
So that's a lap of the Brands Indy with the M5 in its fastest, most efficient settings. But what happens if you press the buttons that disengage the rear axle and switch the dynamic stability control system off?
You're just going to, aren't you? Somebody gives you Brands hatch all to yourself for the day and an M5 to play with, then you're gonna give it a bit of that, aren't you? My gosh, it does do it easily though. Hello people in Clearways. Hope you're enjoying your lunch. It's just outrageous. It's outrageous what you can do in this car. In all its various modes, but when you switch everything off, the kind of full-scale, old-school hot rod that lurks within, fortunately, every M5, including this one, just comes bursting out. And, well, you could just do that sort of thing in it forever. It's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I guess that's the thing about this M5 competition. It's just massive range of abilities. It's a really fast, really well sorted, really efficient sports saloon. 1 minute, if you put it in the right settings. Then you can dial the electronic assistance back a bit, dial it back a bit more. And it's still very safe, but it just gets kind of quicker and more focused. And then you can go all the way and just switch everything off. Undo the front axle and drive it like that. And everything in between. What a vehicle. I've really enjoyed doing this series. Thank you, BMW.
So that's what you can do in a BMW M5 competition, in a range of conditions and in a variety of settings, with either a bit or a lot of help from its ingenious electronic systems, or none whatsoever. And whichever way you choose, and however confident you are in your own abilities, the M5 really does have something for everyone. It is quite some car, is the BMW M5. Always has been, and hopefully always will be, for as long as they keep making it. So cheers for watching this series, and stay safe.